good afternoon, and very good afternoon. Welcome to the show. Welcome to Viewgraphy. I hope you guys doing great. And fall season is approached, and we are going to have some really nice, fall colors. Well, this video is not about fall colors. It's not about fall season. It's about man versus machine. Yep, man versus machine, from which I'm shooting. Okay, so what that means? Well, what happened? There is a gentleman who's a photographer, and he said that he was talking about one particular lens from Nikon. He said it's very heavy, bulky, similar. It's a Z-mount lens. It's bulky, it's heavy. I'm not going to mention the focal length and the aperture of that lens, which of course you can easily guess, but still I'm not going to mention. And he said that other competitors have the same focal length, same aperture, but with less volume and blah blah. And he mentioned that the way he's shooting from this lens is not convenient. Actually, he was shooting like this, like he's holding the camera like this, not like this. The way we shoot. Normally we shoot through the EVF or OVF. He is not shooting. He was shooting like this, like the way we shoot more using mobile through the camera LCD. And I told him that this is not the way camera built for. Camera is having OVF and EVF for a reason. Alright. And that's why you have to look into it and then you can shoot. Then why we are having the LCD at the first place? Well, if there is any awkward position where you cannot go down and look through the EVF or OVF, that's where you use the camera LCD. But not all the time. If the lens is heavy and you keep the camera like this and the lens is heavy, of course it will put some gravitational force towards the front, and that will cause some handling issue. But that's actually why I'm giving this example. The reason I'm giving this example is that we as a photographers, we are become lazy now. That's the topic of today's video. We are become so lazy after getting photography digital, from analog to digital, and now digital to further digital, like from the DSLR to mirrorless. Each phase from film to DSLR, from DSLR to mirrorless, each of this phase is making us as a photographer lazy. High autofocus, faster frames per second, 40 frames per second, insane ISO, and blah blah blah. We are become lazy based on the technology that the photography companies are offering. Like for example, Bird IAF. Nikon just released the firmware update for Nikon Z9 4.1. In 4.1 release, it's specifically for Bird IAF, Bird High Autofocus System. So when it comes to Bird Autofocus System, does it mean that without this high autofocus, I cannot take bird images? What about the film era? Like there was nobody shooting birds before. There was no iconic photo of the birds, like in the film days. What about the DSLR era? People were still shooting the birds. At that time, actually, there are so many iconic images back in the days when we were shooting with film or early DSLR age. There were more iconic images. There were more story in those images. Now, the more technology is getting advanced, the more features that we are getting into the camera, the more lazy we are becoming. And it means that there is no storytelling images. There is no iconic images we are seeing especially in the mirrorless world, in the mirrorless era. Correct me if I'm wrong. And I know I'm telling it right. We are becoming more lazy and we are having less creativity, less storytelling images, and less wow factor in our work. Why? Why it's happening? Because we are becoming lazy based on the technology that we are offered. You know, man versus machine. That's the topic of today. What happened actually? I know this is going to piss off a lot of people. This video is really going to piss off a lot of people, and especially those who are lazy. They will say, oh, okay, Baba is saying, that we are having technology, we should use it. But I don't see the advantages. Like whatever the feature the camera company is offering you, 99% of you are wasting it. You are not utilizing it 100%. 99% of you guys are wasting that technology. Period. You probably you're gonna say, well, portrait, we are not wasting it. We are using IF all the time. Okay, but what about that wow factor in your images? Even though with IF, your portrait is still ending up average. There is no wow factor in it. So whatever the amount that you spend on those 50 1.2 or 85 1.2 or 135 1.8, that money is all wasted. Literally wasted. Now, here is the thing. When we becoming lazy, when we becoming less creative, and when we see any shortcoming into the technology. Now let's talk about autofocus system. Alright? I'm going to be very blunt in this video, and I know this is going to piss off a lot of people, but I don't care because truth has to be, spoken. When we are missing autofocus, we are blaming technology. For example, people are saying Nikon Z6 and Z7 they are having inferior autofocus system, and Sony got better autofocus system, and Canon got dual pixel eye autofocus. Blah blah blah. So yeah, that sounds fair. Sounds fair, very fair. But the thing is, what about back in the days when there was no autofocus system? People were still taking images, and iconic images. What happened now? We are blaming technology for our shortcomings. We are becoming lazy and we are not able to keep up with our ability to take photos. We are putting all the burden of our efforts onto the machine, and if machine misses it, we are blaming the machine. We are blaming the company. These companies are offering you tools to get things done, but we are not efficient enough to take the best use of those tools. Period. Like if any camera misses the autofocus, we just straight away, pointing the company. We are not, analyzing how the autofocus system works for any company or any camera company. Maybe for Sony, everything is automated. For Canon, it's automated and mixed. Nikon is more kind of a customized, where you have to understand how the autofocus system works, and then it goes, you use that instead of rather than blaming the company. It's not just about autofocus system, it's about overall camera features. Like, okay, if one company is having very good autofocus system, another company having dynamic range of their cameras, one company is specialized in low light photography, one company is specialized, in making the best lenses. Every company has their pros and cons, but we are so naive that we don't understand the difference, like how to use each tool. We just putting our shortcomings onto the camera company. Like the camera company, that the tools I'm using from any company, they are not making sufficient tools for us, or their tools are not good enough to fulfill my needs. We are becoming so lazy and so crying every single time. Man versus machine. You know, you have to understand every machine got its limit. You have to understand. You have to understand the tools that you are using, what they are made for, and then use those tools accordingly. You cannot use one single tool for everything and expect that things get done. Of course not. It's never going to happen. Never. You can't expect a high resolution camera, to shoot is like with unlimited buffer, with high frames per second, with high ISO. It's not possible because of the pixel size. So that's just one example. But again, we just need everything and anything. And as a user, we don't consider the limitation of the technology. We just want everything. And then we also blame the machine in the end of the day. We are so, short-sighted as a user. We are very unthankful as a user. I don't blame camera companies, to be very honest. If any camera is having any kind of shortcoming, I blame the user. Straight up. It's the user who is not able to use that tool efficiently. I'm still using DSLR. I'm still using manual focus lenses because I know how to get results out from it. I know the limitation of each tool because I'm putting effort in learning those limits. I'm putting effort in learning how to use each tool to its maximum capacity to get the best out from it, for myself, in my advantage. But most of the people, especially all those newbies who join the photography domain in the mirrorless era, they are so unthankful. They are so naive. They don't know how to use the camera properly. They don't know how to even hold the camera properly. They don't know how to use autofocus system, whatever the advanced autofocus system that we are having in the mirrorless camera, which mode to use, which type of photography. They don't know. And they are so unthankful that if they misses the shot, they are blaming the camera company. They are not looking at themselves. Again, I don't blame camera company. I blame user. Yes, you guys. You don't know how to use it. If Nikon is not having efficient autofocus system as per you guys, most of you, then it's your fault. You don't know how to use it. I have never complained anything about the autofocus system. I am shooting with Z5 all the time. It's an entry-level full-frame mirrorless camera, and it has average autofocus system. But I know the limitation. I know its ISO capability. I know, I know how to use it. So once I know the limit of the camera, once I know the limit of any gear, I use that machine into its limit so I get the maximum rather than I complain. If you want the best of everything, go and buy C9 or C8. Technology comes with price. I say this thing all the time. You spend money, you get the best. Straight up. No questions asked. But you can't get everything in a single machine, and then still you're going to complain if you're missing the autofocus system or any frame. It means that you don't know how to operate it. We are very unthankful as a photographer, especially these, mirrorless guys. I'm sorry, but That's the truth. We just don't look into the machine boundaries. We just complain, 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 complain. Nothing more, nothing less. We just complain rather than focus on enhancing our photography skills to the next level and use these tools which these camera companies are providing in our own advantage and try to get the best out from it for ourselves. We're just wasting our time into complaint. Seriously, this is really embarrassing. Most of the time it is really embarrassing. Anyways, I'm going to wrap up this video now. We Man versus machine. You should know what your machine is capable of. That's all. And then if the machine is not fulfilling your needs, you can complain. Like I said, I'm still using DSLR. I'm still using manual focus lens. And I know how to get results from a manual focus lens. Today morning, I shot sunrise using 75 to 150 millimeter f3.5 manual focus AIS lens that I put on T700. That's the image that you can see on the screen right now. It's all about the result. I don't need autofocus for that because I know I can still get the result out from the manual focus lens. Don't complain. Just work on your skill set. These machines are just a tool to help you to achieve your goals. But if you don't know how to use these machines, then it's not company's fault. It's not machine's fault. It's your fault. You don't know how to use it. Period. Thanks for watching this video. And I'll see you guys in future with some new content. Till then, take care.